Welcome back to So I Was Told. Today is July 4th, but don't expect any fireworks here. Expect facts. Because while the country celebrates its supposed freedom, some of us are just trying to survive the aftermath of it. Today we're diving into the myth of American liberty, who it was built for, who it was stolen from, and who's still paying the price. Let's start with the hard truth. America didn't give freedom. It negotiated it. It rationed it, and it still withholds it. The story of this country isn't one of liberty for all. It's one of selective access shaped by power, whiteness, and violence. So today, I'm breaking down 5 uncomfortable truths about American history that we can't afford to ignore. So let's get into it. Number 1, Indigenous erasure and land theft. The idea that colonizers discovered America is wild when you realize that there were already over 500 sovereign indigenous nations here. That includes whole systems of law, agriculture, trade, and spirituality that existed long before Europeans washed up with guns and smallpox. You see, colonization wasn't a passive event. It wasn't the result of something. It was intentional, violent theft, followed by centuries of broken treaties, forced relocation, and cultural erasure. Even today, indigenous land rights are ignored in projects like the Dakota Access Pipeline, and communities are fighting for clean water and basic health care on land that was stolen in the name of expansion. So let's be clear, just because settlers didn't recognize indigenous governance doesn't mean it didn't exist. Legal ownership didn't start with European paperwork. It started with being there, stewarding, belonging, something an empire can never understand. Number 2, the 13th Amendment and modern slavery. You've probably heard that the 13th Amendment abolished slavery, but that's only half true. It ended slavery, but look at this line here, quote, except as punishment for a crime. That one clause created the loophole for mass incarceration, and we've been watching it exploited ever since. After emancipation, Black people were arrested for loitering, for unemployment, or even talking back, and thus forced into labor under convict leasing systems. If that sounds familiar, it's because it should. Today, over 2 million people are incarcerated in the United States, and many are still doing unpaid or underpaid labor, often for private corporations. My friends, this is not an accident. This was all a part of a blueprint. You see, slavery didn't end, it just evolved. Number 3, the bombing of Black Wall Street. In 1921, the Greenwood District in Tulsa, Oklahoma, also known as Black Wall Street, was thriving. We're talking Black-owned banks, businesses, doctors, teachers, homes, generational wealth that was being built in the Black community. And then came mobs, fueled by white resentment and enabled by the government. White citizens then bombed the districts from the air, burned it to the ground, and killed hundreds. No reparations, no justice, and for decades, not a single acknowledgement. This is one of the many stories buried in textbooks. Why? Because it exposes a truth America doesn't want to confront. That is, when Black people succeed, white supremacy doesn't celebrate. It retaliates. And this pattern can be seen not just in Black culture, but in every subculture that opposes white imperialistic systems. Number 4, reproductive and queer rights in crisis. Let's talk about what's happening right now. In recent years, Roe v. Wade was overturned, stripping bodily autonomy from millions. Over 500 anti-LGBTQ bills have been introduced in the last year alone. Trans youth are being banned from healthcare, from bathrooms, and from sports. Queer and Black books are disappearing from school libraries, not by choice, but through law and policy. So tell me again how this is the land of the free. You see, freedom isn't just about borders or ballots. It's about the right to exist safely and fully. And that right is under attack, especially for people whose identities challenge the status quo. Lastly, number 5, the myth of gratitude. Every time someone challenges the idea of American freedom, somebody always has to come into the comments with something like, well, you should be grateful, or well, we shouldn't have all these modern advances or these modern amenities that we have today. But let me ask you, grateful for what? What are we grateful for? For stolen land? For exploited labor? For working hours on end and not even able to earn a living wage? For having to fight tooth and nail for every right we have, only to see it threatened again? You see, gratitude without justice is gaslighting. I don't hate America. We don't hate America the way you think we do. We just refuse to worship a version of it that never included people like us. So this year, this July 4th, I'm not asking you to skip your barbecue. I'm asking you to tell the truth at the table, not just today, but every day. I'm asking you to hold this country to the standards it claims to uphold. Because if we're not free, all of us, then none of this is worth celebrating. If you want to take action today, start by learning more. Follow Indigenous creators. Support Black educators. Donate to organizations protecting queer and trans youth. And if you're ready to go deeper, I definitely think you should check out the General Strike US on Instagram to connect with people organizing for systemic change. This is one of the easiest ways that you can participate by promising to go on strike once the proper numbers are reached. You see, we don't need more fireworks. We need fire in our conviction. So happy Independence Day, and we'll see you next time.